All right. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see here. Hope everybody's all right. I just noticed the air quality is unhealthy again. Don't know why. Maybe because too many people are out. I don't know. But I hope everybody's doing okay wherever they are, uh, which is great. Let me see something here. Let me make sure everything is operating correctly. Yep, it looks like we are live. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Seems like we're okay. Well, welcome, good people. Here we are again. Another day on the inside. I don't know how long it's been since I've been inside here now. I haven't gone out in, let's see here, let me think, about a week. I haven't been out of my house aside from going in front of my house and to grab some groceries that were delivered. Haven't gone anywhere, and I've been out really about twice in the past 3 weeks. That's it. And the only person who's been out more than that is my wife, and she's going to have to go out again because I don't know if you can tell. You probably can't tell, but the light in our room is burnt out. We just burnt out another room. I told her get a couple lights. She got one. That was for Alex's room, and so he could study. He's still in school, doing it online. So he needed the light. Now this light just burnt out. I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to go and get a couple. It's down the street, so she's gonna go out probably in the next day or two to go get another light. It doesn't seem like it's affecting the lighting too much. But the following stream and all videos on this channel are brought to you by the good viewers and my Patreon patrons, website VIP members, and your viewer contributions. Today's shout out goes to Carlos. Haven't heard from you in a bit. Hope you're feeling better now. He's been in bad shape for a couple of months now. But before I get into it, if you'd like to support my channel, please head over to anamericaninbangkok.com/Scott. That's how you can do that. As of 9:05 today, the current temperature 88 degrees, high of 96, low of 82. Right now it feels like 100 degrees. 0% chance of rain. 70. What? No, it's not 74%. Was it? I might have missed that one. 68% humidity. Winds south-southeast 10 miles an hour. So it's pretty windy out there if you are out there. And there are still a lot of people out there. Visibility 6 miles, UV index 5. Air quality index, as I said, was 110. It's unhealthy. It's gone up from about 55, 60 to what it is today. I don't know why. Again, it's supposedly pollution is down. But let me see here. Thai baht. Last stream, the Thai baht was 32.7796. Today, at the moment, it's 32.6339. And we'll see how that goes. It really depends on what happens in Thailand, what happens in the United States. Everything is pegged to, Donald Trump takes a dump and the media isn't happy with it. And then all of a sudden, the stock market drops. And, well, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Richard. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Hope you're feeling better yourself. So let's hope that things stay fairly stable. But right now, today, at this moment, is there anything more important or intrusive than this virus? The virus that originated in China. The virus formerly known as the Wuhan virus or the Wu flu. Because everywhere you look, there are signs of it. You look outside, people got masks on. Everywhere you go, there's social distancing. There's signs of it everywhere. So before I go any further, I want to give the big FU, the bird, to the Chinese Communist Party. I know it doesn't really matter to them. And all those people who support the party. It's ridiculous. This crisis has cost time, money, lives, and it's disrupted the world in some places to the point of collapse. It's ridiculous, really. Don't believe that China isn't aware of this, because they are well aware of what's going on. And to this day, they still allow their wet markets to remain open. They're selling bats, pangolins, and other critically endangered species. They don't care. That's the thing you have to understand. The harvesting of bear bile, the dwindling numbers of shark species, rhino, tigers, all this can be attributed to the Chinese. And what was that? Thank you very much, John From. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, that's nice, the whole boycott thing. I'll be surprised if this video is allowed to be monetized, or even if it really, the stream, if it remains up. But for some reason, people around the world, they still don't get it. And a lot of it has to do with greed. But the world is now between the proverbial rock and a hard place in more than one way. Everything is definitely not sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops. And as the days go by, less people believe they're going to be coming up smelling like roses. I sure hope we do. But people really, they tend to forget, overlook, or they're just apathetic to the dastardly deeds repeatedly committed by the Chinese government. And now is the time for them to pay the piper. As soon as we get through this, it's time for them to pay the piper. They're already starting to. Now is not really the time to worry about whether or not this virus is called the coronavirus, the China virus, the Wuhan virus, the Wu flu. It's time to say enough is enough with China. And, you know, the more I have to sit inside, I don't have a problem sitting inside. It's like you're in a minimum security jail. You can move around. You can do what you want. You know, you got whatever food you want, you can get, or what you feel like cooking, whatever. This is minimum security stuff. This is nothing. If I want to go outside, I can go outside. So, in that sense, it's easy. I could do this for a year if I had to, no problem, you know. But the fact that we have to because of them is what really irritates me. This virus really doesn't have any mercy. It doesn't care about financial status, skin color, nationality, or location. And everyone, including governments, especially governments, don't always play fair in the playground. And China certainly does not. Not all the kids play nice and grow up to be wonderful citizens of the world. That's not the way that it works. When will the governments and their respective citizens realize this? You know, we are tied to China, and hopefully we're pulling back. We've been pulling back for several months now. The Chinese government lied about what they knew, and it's cost us 6 to 8 weeks and numerous lives. And when I say us, I talk about other non-CCP people in the world. It's cost people lives. And believe me, if I ever lost anybody in my family to this, I'd be pissed. Even more pissed than I am now. Because they lie, they shift the blame, they play the victim, they cry, and all the while, they stick it to anybody they can. So, to me, it's high time the world blacklists China. The Chinese government itself is a virus, and it's infecting and ruining virtually anything and anyone it comes into contact with. The world has allowed this. Think about this. The world has allowed the CCP to get away with Tibet, Taiwan, Hong Kong, the Uyghurs, their toxic milk scams, and all the scams that they have going on there that kill numerous people without consequence, the debt trap diplomacy that they practice, the continual rip-offs of copyrighted products, including the N95 masks. And I just saw something, and I had forgotten about this, in Yulin, where the Chinese mainlanders have their festival annually. The world knows, much of the world knows that Chinese mainlanders, I want to differentiate between Chinese mainlanders who follow the government and Chinese mainlanders who practice some of these ridiculous, they follow these ridiculous practices, some of them ancient, and they're ancient for a reason. Other countries don't follow them for a reason, but they torture and eat dogs and cats by the millions and think it's funny when they're killing. I just saw a video the other day where the guy's like flipping around a dog, and the dog is still alive. He's killing them in the pan. 10 million dogs and 4 million cats per year. So this is a real wake-up call for the world. This is, it's got to be a wake-up call. The Chinese government, they don't care if it's right or wrong. In their eyes, they are always right. Anyone who believes otherwise is defamed, tortured, killed, deported, and the world needs to wean itself from the Chinese tick. Even the people who the Americans married to Chinese moved to America because they don't want to deal with the Chinese government. What kind of government is that? Listen, nobody said dealing with the government is going to be easy. Bureaucracy is never easy, especially when it's done on a large scale. But there is a reason why lots of people are leaving and they don't want to be there. Anybody who can leave is leaving. Anybody who has a large amount of money that's able to transfer that money elsewhere is doing so. And weaning ourselves from the Chinese tit will hurt for a while, and some are going to whine and cry, because they're losing money. They're like babies given formula for the first time. They're like, what is this? This is not mama's milk. Just don't give them the Chinese formula. But like a bad hangover, this too shall pass. Get some sleep. Lay your head down, and the hangover will pass. This pain will pass. So it's time to learn from our mistakes and shut out the Chinese government and their companies. It's time right now. This is the thing. If I have it my way, I won't ever buy from China again. Now, I don't know that that's entirely possible at the moment because there's a lot of companies we may not know that they are, at least some of their parts are made in China, like Apple. Is Apple going to move everything to the United States? How are they going to do that? How are they going to deal with it? Yeah, I'm incensed here. So let's get to the solution. Many people still to this day in New York, in Spain, in Thailand, all over, they're only going to believe that this disease is serious when it's on their doorstep and when someone they know gets sick and dies. To others, there are others around the world that are locked down, for instance, in India and Italy, and they risk jail or being beaten out in the streets. Now, I just did see something about India, but I'll get to that a little bit later. And I think at this point right now, we have to stop kidding ourselves. I seriously hope that being the non-medical professional that I am, that I'm wrong. But I think this is going to go on longer than a couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to peak in 2 weeks. I think that this Anthony Fauci, I think he's hoping that everything goes like they want it. And granted, I hope that these medicines work. Boom, end of story. we get the medicine out and distribute it as quickly as possible, and it saves millions of lives, because I think that's what it's going to boil down to. And I want to know, I'm sure that some of you have heard the story of the little Dutch boy who saved, it was the city of Haarlem in the Netherlands. It was written by an American, but it was took place in the Netherlands. He saved the city by sticking his finger in a dike. And I think this is kind of what we're doing right now. We're sticking our finger in a dike and we're hoping that it's going to take care of things. But unlike in the book where he does save the day, people are dying on a daily basis, and they're going to continue to do so until we figure something else out. The numbers have gone up dramatically, and at this point, stopping the virus, it's kind of akin to trying to put out a bushfire in Australia by taking a piss. That's kind of what I liken it to. But ever the optimist that I am, which I have to fight to stay optimistic. I'll be honest. It's very easy for me to say I don't see it happening. It's just not gonna. I don't want to say I lose faith, but I try to be real. Ever the optimist that I try to be, I remain hopeful that the hydrochloroquine and the azithromycin combination and the HIV meds they turn out to be the drugs that the world is looking for and that they need desperately. France, China, and now the United States have and are all testing the combination of drugs. And so far, if we were to believe what is being said, the results are positive. Just so everybody knows, I got to issue a disclaimer because you never know nowadays. I'm referring to the actual malarial drug, hydrochloroquine, not the fish tank cleaner, and definitely not a Chinese knockoff of the drug. Because guess what? They're out there. They're out there. Let's see here. Now, one thing that I've noticed, I watch the press conferences like a lot of people do because, it gives me something to do at 4 o'clock in the morning here when I wake up. But anytime I hear the U.S. president talking about his friendship with President Xi of China, I have to dig down and hope that he's putting on a front, that he's using his New Yorker skills and his skills from his construction and building days. And I'm hoping he will rake him over the coals in some way. I hope he will get the better of him and ruin the CCP and ruin the Chinese government. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Trump to screw over Xi because, his ego makes that entirely plausible. And say what you will about him or any other leader's performance right now. I think we have to concentrate on the solution, and we'll deal with the performance of our leaders later on, unless it's that bad. And if you listen to the mainstream media, some people will say, "Oh yeah, it is that bad," but I don't really think it is. I think that people are doing the best they can in a really bad situation. Now, speaking of fish tank cleaner, one of the things that people are always talking about is fake news, the fake information, how hard it is to get proper and correct information. And I was thinking about this. And when Ted Turner created CNN, he really did create a monster. Think about this. It was the first 24-hour news channel. Who needs news 24 hours a day? 7 days a week. Who needs that much news? We weren't getting enough news before. I mean, now it's information overload. Who needs to see a TV in every airport and every single one of them has CNN showing day in and day out? Riddle me this. And now we have, of course, the internet. The internet never sleeps. And so now there is this thirst for content. And unless the internet is knocked offline for some reason, or it's shut off by an authoritarian, oppressive government such as China's, it's always the same. It's content, content, content. APC, always provide content. Even if it means making up conspiracies, even if it means providing phony information, fake news, even if it means vilifying someone simply to serve your own agenda. Now, just this morning I heard how CBS put up a video that was supposed to be showing a New York hospital. Instead, it was really a hospital in Italy. Now, I don't know. Intentional? Mistake? I mean, I see spelling errors on a lot of the news sites. I see spelling errors, and I'm just like, don't they have spell check? Doesn't anybody look at this stuff before they put it online? So maybe it was simply a mistake. That's what they say. That's what they want you to believe. But the truth is, I don't buy it. I have become a non-believer. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, now his government is quite angry with Beijing for the disinformation, the propaganda they're spreading about the coronavirus. And this includes how American soldiers are the ones who may have introduced it into China, which is a bunch of bullshit. And he himself said there would be a reckoning when the pandemic ends. I think there's going to be a day of reckoning for the Chinese government. He goes on to say, there is a disgusting disinformation campaign going on and it is unacceptable. They, the Chinese government, know they have got this badly wrong, and rather than owning it, they are spreading lies. Now, if Xi is such a great dude and a good buddy of Trump, why doesn't he call him up and go, hey, listen, you want to do something? Threaten the next guy that comes out with the fake news, threaten him with the firing squad, and see how that works. But you think he's doing that? I don't think so. There's really only three approaches in the media. There's the truth. I mean, I know I was young 50 years ago when I used to sit in front of the TV and watch the news with Cronkite and Brinkley and Dan Rather and all these others. But it seemed like I used to get the facts. There's opinion, which, we all have that. And then there's I don't know, which a lot of people can't seem to say. Now, if the truth will set you free, then why isn't there more of it? Because it doesn't sell. Opinions are like assholes, and we all have one. You ever sit in a bar with a room full of drunks? Everybody thinks they're an expert. I'll give you my opinion, I'll give you my thoughts, it doesn't mean they're right. I just believe in what I think, and unless proven otherwise, proven wrong, I'm going to keep believing, because I think that I try to be fairly educated on what I speak about. Now, I'm not always, but, that's life. You can't know everything. But the truth is, unless the conversation you have with someone, or our leaders have with us, is based in fact, most people and most governments don't know what the hell they're talking about. Remember the old days? The facts, nothing but the facts, ma'am. I wish it was like that again, and it's not. I mean, I can't go to Fox, I can't go to CNN, even Reuters now. I can't go to any of them because I don't know what the truth is. I have to sit there and decipher everything and try to figure out what's real and what's not. It's like guesswork. And right now, the world, as I see it, I think a lot of the world is more than a little upset with the Chinese government. And the more days that go by, the more pissed off people get. Because their lives are on the line. The day of reckoning will come sooner than later, and the Chinese government will eventually be made to pay in one form or the other. And at this time, they won't. And this time, they will not be able to place the blame on others. So that's kind of where I stand. Now I've made my point and made my feelings even more known than in the past. But let me read some of these comments here. Oh boy, wow, go way back here. Tens of thousands of deaths prevented. Yeah, lots of people lame. No statement on behalf to me. It would come across better if Xi announced they would have acted sooner. Yes, plastic rice. True to CCP. 2 weeks. The doctors. Not 2 weeks. Not 2 weeks. Try 6 to 8 weeks. No expression of empathy for all those. No, what they're busy doing is blaming everybody else. China must pay reparations. Yeah, well, fat chance on that. I think we're going to have to figure something out to get them one way or the other. But boycott China, unnatural. India economy will benefit big time going forward. A lot of manufacturing will migrate to that. Well, yeah, probably. I don't know that I'd want it to, though. Sometimes I think it's better that you charge a little bit more. You raise the prices and you made in America. Exactly. I want Apple and Nike and all others to come home. I'll pay more for those products than I think most Americans would. Yes, definitely. Let's hope that, an Apple, an iPhone doesn't go from $1,200 to $2,500. Let's hope it doesn't affect us that much. But I think there are other options, and there's going to have to be other options. We were fine before the CCP, and we'll be fine without them. It would be nice to see a label made in Thailand, etc., instead of made in China. I think seeing that a large portion of Thailand is made up of Chinese or former Chinese, people of Chinese nationality, heritage, generations ago, I think that's not a very good idea. Because I wouldn't put it past Thailand to side with China just because, I don't know about right now, but before this happened, many other countries will look to source elsewhere, especially in Europe. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Europe is a little slow to get to the game, but I'm going to read about some other stuff that's going on, and I think that their minds will be changed. Corporate greed, most definitely. Made in China, screwed. I've got two things that I know of that are specifically products made by Chinese companies. One is my drone, and I'll say that the drone works quite well now. However, I still had to buy a new remote controller. The thing had almost never been used. It was almost brand new. It hadn't been flown more than 5-6 times. And yet the controller didn't work. And you couldn't get another controller. I had to go to some guy's shop that I just stumbled onto, and he had literally hundreds of different drone parts, hundreds and thousands of drone parts in this little room. That was the only reason I got it fixed, and it was at a reasonable price. But, Gennaro, what's happening? Everybody, hello again. I don't see the Chinese tour groups just pop. No, I don't see them either, and I think that people know now. And I'll be honest, the Thais knew about the Chinese and how problematic they can be. They went from not being huge in the tourism industry to being one of the worst tourist nationalities in the world very, very quickly. Didn't take much. And, I know you guys have seen me where numerous times there was in Bali. I was there trying to take a picture, and this guy just walks right, da 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 da. Didn't care. He's getting in my pictures. Chiang Mai. This kind of stuff has happened numerous times, and I've already talked about a few things that happened in China. You know, nothing major to me, but on a large scale, I'm just one person. So on a large scale, and in the tourist industry, you know, I would not want to deal with them. And I'm talking about mainlanders. I'm not talking about the, you know, Singaporeans. I'm not talking about Hong Kong's Chinese or Taiwanese or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I think we know who we're talking about. As one one of the coffee girls said to me while I was in Hong Kong, one of the first things she said to me is, "Hey, we're not like you. We don't shit in the street here in Hong Kong." What does that say? Something has always smelled rotten about this pandemic. For starters, the strength and aggressiveness worldwide seems calculated, not accidental. Well, yeah, you said it. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't agree. And to think that 30% or more of our military are invested in China, it's great to hear. Yeah, thank you, Janara, for bringing that up. I don't think it was deliberate, but rather incompetence. I don't think it even came from some lab. I think it came from nature. And I'm going to get to this in a minute. Probably, blah, blah, blah. Where am I at here? Lost my place here. So you're nuts if you think there's anything more than an accident. I thought that today's world was a good one. Lots of good things. Yeah, the only thing I don't particularly like is all the bluster by Trump. He's got a lot of, I really want to thank so-and-so, and then he's got, you know, some guy who's, I don't know from what organization, what department, but he'll come up, yes, I first would like to thank so-and-so, and then so-and-so. Shut up. We don't need to know everybody. They don't need the recognition. Now's not the time to recognize them. Jesus. Some believers want to get rid of Trump. I don't know about that. Hold China accountable. Time for revolution in China. Well, I think that right now, unbeknownst to many people in the world, I think China, the Chinese government is going through a lot of turmoil right now, and they're a bit worried. Between Taiwan, Hong Kong, and all the other stuff they got going on, and now this, I think they're in deep doo-doo. Do you know how much more are you willing to pay? They should be made to reimburse every country for all stimulus. Well, that would be nice. How about 30%? Everyone said they'll pay more for American men. The reality is people are cheap. But the thing that I think of beyond Trinity is once it becomes the norm, people are just going to have to deal with it. Yeah, just buy less stuff. People are broke right now. They're not always broke. Southeast Asia, Thailand is, and Vietnam. Vietnam and Thailand are blaming. So, well, I think you're saying that Thailand is blaming this entirely on the. First of all, a Farang is generally a Caucasian, so it's redundant to say white Farang. But this has come from one particular person in the government. This has not come from the entire government. There's a lot of foreigners who think that the Thai government's against them and all that kind of stuff. I don't really want to debate all that. I think it depends on what happened. What the hell? Oh, man. Are we back now? Yeah, we're back now. Wow. I got an error message. Haven't seen that in a long time. That was strange. That came from one particular guy, and he said a lot of things that he just the other day was bashing the nurses, the Thai nurses so I mean, I take it with a grain of salt. Average income at Foxcom is under 400 on the same labor will be what? Wait a minute. If Apple product I own is, I can go without one. What happened? Strange for me. Video is frozen. Well, we should be back right now. Should be okay. Looks like a lot of people got bumped off. Well, yeah, but you see, in the end, it is the consumer. And the reason it's a consumer is because if people find out something is purchased or manufactured in China, they may very well decide to say, hey, screw this company. They haven't learned. Look what they did. This government did to our country. Look what it did to people around the world. Why are you still dealing with them? We're not going to do business with you. Sorry, you're boycotted. That could very well happen. I would not doubt that at all. Yeah, okay. Somehow I don't think they are. Somehow I don't think they really care about little old me. Now, if my numbers were to multiply about 100-fold, then that might be a different story. If I had several million people following this channel, that would be a different story. Now, let me see where I'm at here. Got to go over the numbers. Now, if you watch the latest press conference, Anthony Fauci estimated that somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 200,000 people would end up dying from this virus in the United States. Now, apparently what was said was 100,000 if all goes well. That's a lot of people. I can tell you one thing, though. I made it a point to check on this. Last night when I went to sleep, the number of deaths were 35,030 people. This morning, 12 hours later, 37,815. So that means that the number of people that died was about 2,800 people in 12 hours. 2,800 people in 12 hours. That's a lot, obviously. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. Most of those MAGA, shop Walmart, ironic, isn't it? Well, guess what? It's time for Walmart, and I guarantee you they are thinking of other options. If you think Walmart wouldn't drop China like a hot potato, you got another thing coming. They're looking for their long-term survival. And they're not going to survive. People are not going to forgive this. I don't think that most people. I don't know, though. Listen, a lot of people, they're dummies. They're going to be right back. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Scientists told Boris Johnson they believe Beijing is downplaying the number of coronavirus cases in the country by a factor of 15 to 40. That's crazy. Really, that's pretty crazy. So what I really want to know about is at what point do we just throw our arms up and say we're going to open up again, and people are going to, because eventually people are going to lose patience and just start going nuts. They're going to be rioting in the streets. It's already starting to happen. Like in Italy, they're threatening this, and we're all animals here. Like I said before, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're human, you can get this. And if this virus or any other virus is going to kill people, in all likely, it's going to kill, like they were saying, 80% of the people recover. Then you got another 20% who are more serious, and whatever 2% end up dying from it. What are we going to do? Open up and just say, hey, well, if you die, you die. You're on your own, buddy. We need to, for the good of mankind, for the good of our country, we need to stay open. I don't know. And I'm always talking about Trump and how, lately he and many others that go up and speak in the press conference, they basically stick their chest out and go, oh yeah, yeah, we're doing a great job, everything is wonderful. And sometimes, it'd be nice if you're just honest and, you didn't try to downplay everything. But, after giving it a little bit of thought, I kind of likened his position to that of a fighter. As a fighter, when you go into the ring, you go in with the mindset that you're going to win. And if you go in thinking, I'm going to lose, then you need to find another profession. So you don't just say, well, I've got this fight coming up and I'm going to lose and we're not going to win. I don't think we can win. I'm not sure. No, every decent fighter, good fighter has it in their head. I'm going to win. Hey, I don't care how good this guy thinks he is, how good he is, I'm going to beat him. And in today's press conference, Trump said, our next 30 days will be challenging. I really hope it's only 30 days. Because if it goes past 30 days or 60 days, all hell is going to break loose. If this happens, I see the military in the streets, and I really hope that doesn't happen. So, like I said before, although I'm optimistic, I'm extremely cautious, and I don't know if I believe 30 days is going to mark the beginning of the end. But if the CCP were a person, now is the time to declare them persona non grata. It's time to 86 them from the world, shut them out, and eventually they will fall apart. And then all we can hope for is that China implements and installs a better government. Can't get good into a ring. He has. How long do you? Man, I'm guessing. I'm looking at France. I don't know because I just heard some things about France that they're not keeping up with their numbers. That they're not counting certain people that are at home and. Trump is, hey, you know what? If you want to do it, get it back to America. You'll get the prices down eventually. So this is these are a few things we need to think about. But in the in the United States, I saw that this Deborah Birx has said that every city could be the same as New York. Okay, well, thank you for telling the truth. And when I hear and see videos, because I'm not in the United States, about people in churches taking part in Mass and in temples and praying to God and to Buddha and to Allah, in their place of worship, that stuff is not going to prevent them from contracting the virus. In fact, they are going to spread it further because this virus doesn't give a shit about religion. And so that's why I think people really, really do not get it. Now, I got a message earlier today. I got a message earlier today from a guy that was in Hong Kong. Where is it at here? He was coming from, I think he said Australia. Let me look here. Okay. He flew into the United States from Australia the other day and thought you might be interested in how the virus is being handled in airports. His flight path was Perth to Sydney to LA to Boston. The Australian airports had marks on the floor in all the waiting areas to help with social distancing. Often there was a staff member telling everyone to spread out. In Perth and Sydney, I found only one hand sanitizer dispenser. And there were frequent PA announcements, PA over the PA systems announcements, reminding everyone to practice social distancing. When he landed in LA, where he cleared customs and immigration, there was not a single mention of the virus. Had I not been watching the news, I could have gone through without even knowing it existed. Immigration officers made no point of telling me to self-quarantine, and once again, only one hand sanitizer dispenser, and it was actually turned to the wall as if out of order, but it wasn't. The flight to Boston had about 20 people aboard. Boston Logan Airport was exactly the same. No mention of the virus. I was amazed that I never once was told that I had to quarantine. In contrast, a friend of mine returned from a visit to Finland exactly one day before me, arriving. Where's it at here? Arriving into Boston. All passengers on her flight were stopped in the airport for temperature checks, and everyone had to fill out their contact information for the CDC. They were given information packs with virus information and told they must self-quarantine. Yesterday, she received a call from the CDC to tell her that one of the other passengers on her flight tested positive. In contrast, I have no way of knowing if someone on my flight had it. Just an FYI. This other guy found out 2 guests in his hotel who had been confirmed, and they weren't on his floor, but he's getting out of there. So this stuff I'm sorry, I just don't think that it's going to decline anytime in the near future. I think you better prepare, and you better prepare well, and I can only hope that we're prepared well enough. I think we're in a sticky situation right now. Like I said, we're in between a rock and a hard place. Amazon and Instacart employees are threatening to strike. Amazon is looking to hire, or is started to hire, 100,000 more warehouse workers in the U.S. to help address the surge in orders. It's also said they'd boost pay for warehouse staff around the world, including $2 per hour in the U.S. and £2 per hour in the U.K., where staff have been told to work overtime. However, U.S. lawmakers have questioned Amazon over reports of shortages of protective and cleaning supplies, as well as their sick leave policies. The firm earlier faced strikes by workers in France and Italy and has been hit by legal complaints over the issues in Spain, according to a global alliance of unions coordinated by UNI Global Union. Monday's call for a strike against Instacart was organized by the Instacart Shoppers and Gig Workers Collective, which had accused the company of profiting by putting people making its deliveries directly in harm's way. Now, I got to say, the other day when I got my order, which was Sunday? The other day when I got my order, driver comes to the door, had a mask on, and I had my mask on. And, he went to hand me the stuff. I said, just put it down on the ground. Just put the stuff down on the ground. Don't worry about it. He puts it down on the ground, and he goes, will you sign this for me? He had one of those electronic, devices where you sign it. And I said, no, I'm not signing that. I didn't want to touch the guy. I didn't want to come anywhere near. I brought the stuff inside, dumped everything on the table, threw the garbage bags out, and then washed my hands. And, that's the thing. These delivery drivers, they are putting themselves at risk, for sure. And I've been coughing, but I think it's because of the aircon. Who knows? The organization said the firm should provide protective gear, offer hazard pay, and extend the pay for those unable to work because of the virus, whether due to a required quarantine or pre-existing condition. This is an extraordinary time in history, and as shoppers, those of us who are able and have the means to protect ourselves do want to help those in our community by delivering groceries and supplies. the organizers wrote. But with Instacart neglecting the basic well-being of its 150,000 plus drivers, we believe there is no choice but to not only walk off, but to raise awareness of the company's practices. I think you need all the delivery drivers that you can get. And, what are you going to do? You're going to say, no, we're not going to give you the money? Yeah, you can do that, but then what? Oh, really? They have, huh? My mother told me that what they do is they put the stuff right by the gate. They don't even come into the door. Really? It's really lovely. It's lovely that people feel the need to spit on stuff. Now, speaking about the Chinese, during the time that China, this came from the Sydney Morning Herald, during the time that China was denying that there was any human-to-human, animal-to-human transmission going on in Wuhan, a real estate developer was instructing all the employees in the company to round up as much personal protection equipment as possible to ship to China. They ended up shipping 82 tons of gear. Now, they knew what was going on. Flat out. They need to pay. Sorry. India, their railway system is down. That's for passengers, I guess. And apparently right this minute, there are people trying to get back to their villages because they can't work. So they might as well go back to their village, and maybe they have more security there because the family has food or whatever. Dr. John Campbell said he is extremely worried about India as there is the potential for many, many people to all get sick at the same time. And this is something, imagine if you took even a small percentage of India and they all are getting sick at the same time. You're going to have madness over there. Just like I said in, in many of the countries in Africa and also India, I think we have yet to see really anything anywhere near serious. Yeah, that's the thing. The population density, quite. It's very, very thick, and so I think they're in for some serious trouble. It's like I said, we've only just begun. Now, one thing that really bugged me was this. I watched this video where Hong Kong journalist from RTHK aired an interview with Bruce Aylward, the WHO Assistant Director General, who spoke to this girl. Her name was Yvonne Tong on a video call. And the girl started asking her what about Taiwan? And the guy just completely acted like he couldn't hear her question. And then she asked it again, and he hung up on her. And then she called him back, and he said, let's move on from the question I've already answered about China. So they very clearly do not want to talk about China. I don't know what China's got on them or what's going on, but makes me really lose trust in the World Health Organization, and that's a shame because you need to be able to trust. You need to be able to trust them. They've already been accused, and this is just one more thing, but they've been accused of political bias towards. Oh, well, here's the reason towards the country because they are a major contributor. So it's about the money, like always. It's about the money, Yeah, well, everybody's chilled out about it until it comes to their doorstep. And then they're not so chilled out. That's how it works. Yeah, I was chilled out about it. I was like, I'm not worried about it. Now I'm worried about it. And am I worried about actually catching the virus? Yes, of course. I don't want to get sick. If I did, hopefully I'd only have mild symptoms. I don't want to have to pay to go and be connected to a ventilator and all those kind of things. Of course not. But I'm more worried about the ramifications that are going to come if the societies are not, they don't open up again. The countries don't open up again, and business doesn't. We don't get back to doing business, and I'm talking about all over the world. There's going to be hell to pay. People are going to go nuts. Just so you know, in Taiwan, they are tracking people. They're tracking their citizens. What they do is they have an app, and it's on their phone, obviously. They have the app, but twice a day somebody calls them randomly to make sure of where they are so they know that they're with the phone. I mean, maybe that's what it takes. Maybe it takes people being put, locked up and with a guard outside. Maybe that's what it's going to take. It's pretty scary stuff. Let's see here, huh? Yeah, you don't see many. You see many. Well, I'm not using them. Not now, at least. Let's move on here. Now, another thing. I don't know if you've heard about this, but now China has sent faulty supplies to Spain, Turkey, Georgia, the Czech Republic, and also now the Netherlands. My question is, was this only about money, greed, and power manipulation, or was this done with malicious intent? Is the Chinese government and its followers out to harm the citizens of these countries or elsewhere by giving them this crappy stuff? Or, as is probably the case, made in China means it's made like shit. So you really can't trust their products. Faulty thermometers, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff, and I'm not one to just bash any country because, listen, I've been there. I've talked about this. I've been there a couple times. I spent time in Hong Kong and I spent time in the mainland, and I won't go back now. Not after this kind of stuff, Italy and Spain are both at their breaking point. Fear is driving people to take serious action that they may not otherwise take, and there is social unrest brewing in Italy. Lots of people have no food and are threatening to riot in the streets and start looting. And I think they're getting something like €400 or some voucher. I don't remember. I'll have to look that up. The good news, though, is that in Italy, Spain, and South Korea, the curve is slowly flattening out, and there's a reduction in the total number of new cases per day. So that's a good thing. American companies that are made in China not be labeled. I don't know, but I don't listen. There used to be a time when I did care and say, oh, I want to be open-minded. Nah, I don't want to be open-minded. When it comes to the Chinese government, I don't want to be open-minded. No more. No, I'm sorry. Some people are not meant to live near each other, do business with each other, just interact with each other in any way. So, yeah, the Italy situation is definitely not good. Oh, it's, what is this? Let me see here. I might be able to find this here. Italy sets aside, 400 million euro for food vouchers as social rest uh, amounts. Let me see here. Go towards an emergency food relief fund. We know that many suffer, but the state is there. I just have a hard time believing that. Listen, anything you can get out of the state, I suggest you get it from them because you may not be able to, so you might as well get what you can when you can. Tension has been mounting on the island of Sicily in recent days, with police now patrolling supermarkets following a series of thefts. People have been running out of supermarkets without paying or pressuring small shop owners to give them free food. La Repubblica reported that one person shouted at cashiers in a supermarket in Palermo, "We have no money to pay, we have to eat." With income lost or businesses closed, many have been forced to turn to charities for help. "We have nothing to eat," Carmela, a mother of 3 from Palermo, told La Stampa. La Stampa reported that 300,000 people across Sicily have been working off the books, among them carers, parking attendants, and street vendors. They must be added to the new poor, the newspaper said. One young man who had been working off the books in a nightclub in Palermo was sleeping in his car, the newspaper added. The next thing to go is the car. Fast food delivery said it was suspending. A company said it was suspending deliveries in Zen, a deprived area in the outskirts of the Sicilian capital, after one of its riders was attacked and robbed on Friday. A video also emerged of a couple begging for a €50 advance outside a bank in Bari Puglia after their shop was forced to close due to the quarantine. Yeah. This is not good. Definitely not good. How's Thailand going to stay locked down? Is the Thai going to give out money so people can buy food? I know some people that are broke. That 5,000 baht was a joke. It's 5,000 baht a month for 3 months, which is probably enough for one person scraping by for food for one person. That's it. Now, we did look into that. We looked into it because Alex, got laid off basically because he can't work now because he can't go to school. However, this 5,000 baht doesn't apply to students. So let's say you're a single student, you're working your way through university somehow, you got no parents to rely on, you're out of luck. Now, in Thailand, speaking of Thailand, almost 20 million people registered for financial aid in less than 48 hours. Almost 7 times the number estimated by authorities. Wow. Some 19.8 million people have registered as of 2 p.m. on Monday, the Finance Ministry announced on its Facebook page. The handout at 5,000 baht per person for 3 months from April is intended for about 3 million temporary employees, contract employees, and self-employed individuals who are not covered by the Social Security system. Also, the Thai police, as many as 27 Bangkok police officers have contracted the virus, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus. Bangkok's police chief said on Monday, Police Lieutenant General Pakapong said 326 others were in quarantine waiting for test results. The infected officers fell into 2 groups, he said. Those who recently returned from a work tour in Spain and those who visited 2 major transmission sites, the Lumpini Boxing Arena and the Tonglor Entertainment Complex. I hope that since China will recover first, they don't become aggressive towards others that are not. Well, that's the thing that people are worrying about, Richard. People are worrying that China will become aggressive, and they'll use the fact that they are supposedly they have this under control. They'll use that to their benefit. Now, I think they're in a tough spot, though, because I think that the governments are more than willing to join together to go after China for something like this. So I don't think that they're that stupid to jump on people. Not yet, at least. Now, eggs. Eggs in Thailand, just the other day, like I said, we got some eggs and the price went up from 4 baht to 5 baht. You get a dozen eggs. It was, I think if we got a dozen eggs, it was 48 baht. Now it's 60 baht. So, prices are going up, but the government extended the ban on chicken egg exports on Monday and assigned 2 ministries to handle distribution of all locally made surgical masks, and both steps were intended to end continuing local shortages. Deputy Prime Minister and Commerce Minister Jurin Laksanawisit said chicken eggs were still in short supply domestically. Yeah, they are. My wife was saying that the market was out of them the other day. So he had extended the initial 7-day ban on exports for 30 more days. The ban was due to expire on Tuesday. About 41 million chicken eggs were produced commercially each day, and up to 1 million of them had until recently been exported each day. It's a lot of eggs. Listen, this is not some big conspiracy. All right, I'm sorry. I don't buy into this virus being a conspiracy. Uh, Look at how, listen, most people are idiots. They're not going to come. There's very few people that are capable of manufacturing something like this. And to do so, I don't see it, man. I'm sorry. This is something far beyond the capabilities of, even if it was that easy to manufacture this, people would be manufacturing a cure. And they're not doing that. Or they haven't done it. They're trying. Now, what? That's another conspiracy? Oh, they're trying. They're just saying they're trying, but they're not. No, I don't buy it, okay? Supposedly, there are people being tested, not only in the United States, as I said, but also France and elsewhere, and supposedly with good results. So that is a positive. That's a big positive. There are some positives to come out of this. One of them is the reduction of pollution. Now, I'm looking at it right now. I don't know why it's so polluted right now. 109 on the pollution index, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups, which that would be me, because I'm sensitive. 109, and that's about double what it's been for the past week. Now, I don't know why this is, what's going on, but that's not good. But let's see here. Where are we at here? In China, though, they're saying that the average number of good quality air days has increased by 21.5% in February when compared to the same period last year. And according to NASA, nitrogen dioxide levels have dropped by between 10 to 30% across eastern and central China. In Madrid, average nitrogen dioxide levels decreased by 56% week on week after the Spanish government banned non-essential travel on March 14th. However, in some regions of Poland, nitrogen dioxide levels remained relatively high during the period despite its lockdown, perhaps due to the prevalence of coal-based heating. Experts have warned that until a complete lockdown is imposed, emissions from some sectors may increase. For example, people may take private cars more often to avoid public transportation. China, of course, has recorded a drop, as I said, And this is because the government imposed draconian lockdown measures to contain the virus. In Hong Kong, key air pollutants dropped by nearly a third from January to February, according to data from the Hong Kong University School of Public Health. Hey, Carl, what's happening? Yeah, I heard about the rapid test. That's quite good. It means that you get the test results apparently right there. They're tested right there, and you get the results right there. On chair, I think, or something like that. At the chair test, whatever. Let me go on here before I lose my train of thought. South Korea also appears to have seen a drop in nitrogen dioxide levels despite avoiding putting entire regions under lockdown. However, it has taken an aggressive approach to tracing and isolating suspected cases. Researchers in New York told the BBC that early findings show carbon monoxide has been reduced by nearly 50% compared with the previous year. The scientists from Columbia University said they estimated traffic levels in the city were down 35%. That's it? Countries that went into lockdown later, such as Britain, which did so on 23rd of March, look set for a pollution reprieve in coming weeks. That's a lot of information out there. I don't get the whole bat eating thing. And, at this point, I'm sorry if the people are hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. I only want to eat bat because it's the only thing I can afford. I don't buy it. And, for a government to state how much they've helped the people and how great their people are doing, then why are they eating bat instead of, say, a chicken? I don't get it. Can we check the numbers of the infected in Shanghai and Beijing? Richard, I don't believe a frickin' word they say. They've closed the borders to foreigners. Okay, I can understand that. But apparently they've also lost a large number of mobile cell numbers. There are huge pits that have been seen from satellites, like burning pits. I wonder what they're burning. And they're closed off to the world right now. It's very difficult to get information out of China that is known to be legitimate. Yeah, and then they're going to give the rat virus to us. It's like, and I once joked about, I saw a rat in a Chinese restaurant. True story. I talked about this before where I was in Chinatown down in L.A. with a buddy, and we had seen a guy who was mumbling to himself, and we thought, man, this guy's weird. And then he walked into the restaurant. There's a lot that has been out there for a while. The missing cell phone numbers. That's something that has been in the news, and I can only assume that it's very real. But like that story that I was talking about. I was down in what was it? What's the place down there? Venice Beach. I was down in Venice Beach, and we saw this guy. Like I said, then he walks into the Chinese restaurant that we were at, and this place was far away. It was like an hour away. So maybe he was just some wacky dude. I don't know what the deal was, but we heard some screaming in the restaurant. And I thought, oh man, I wonder if this guy is like attacking somebody. My mind, I don't know why it was working that way, but I was like, oh, somebody's getting attacked. And then we saw this girl stand up, and she started smacking at her chest, and a rat popped off and ran down on the ground, got down on the ground and ran into the kitchen. And we were like, we're out of here. I'm like, nah, no rat fried rice. I made a joke about it. It was like, I don't want any rat fried rice. Well, that may be what it's coming to for some of the Chinese. I don't know. I sure hope not. Because that's the last thing that we need is another virus. Well, I don't trust, let me tell you something. I don't trust the CCP at all. I have 0%, in fact, I have negative trust in them. But that doesn't mean to me that they created this. To me, they are inept enough as a government that they need to cover up things, that they need to lie, they need to place blame elsewhere, because it's what they do. They don't give a shit about doing things right, doing things well. I'm not saying everybody, but it would not put, I'm sorry, I simply believe that this comes from exactly what has been said, which is it came from some wet market. And if you've ever seen some of these wet markets, I mean, listen, the wet markets in Thailand are spotless compared to these. You got animals shitting and pissing on each other, and they're stacked right on top of each other. And then it's, oh, here you go, buddy. That'll be 99 cents. Well, you can say it's human created. It's not human created. How's it human created? It's not human created. It came from the animal. It jumped over to the human. Humans, in effect, caused this virus to spread to other humans by having that kind of an unsanitary wet market. But they did not create this, as in, I don't believe this was created in a lab and they said, we're going to get everybody around the world and we're going to take over. That's about as dastardly as you could get, and I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't think that that's what this is. The wildlife trade in China and elsewhere is well known. And, listen, even in Thailand, I've photographed numerous restaurants that to this day, they still sell shark fins. And nobody does a thing about it. Nothing. And it doesn't do a damn thing. It's like, listen, you can grind up tiger penis all you want. I don't believe it. You can grind up rhino horn all you want, but I think all you're doing is depleting the world of animals that are necessary. You're destroying the ecosystem. Anyway. This is a draining process, I think, for many, many people. Maybe not for the ultra wealthy or people with a huge home and a big plot of land. Maybe it's not that bad for them. Okay. I understand. Is it really bad for me and my wife and my kids? It could be a lot worse. I don't like it. I wish I was able to just go out and go, hey, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to go and do that. Now, I think far too many people are still doing that in Thailand and elsewhere. I think far too many people are going out, and it's non-essential. To go out right now, if you don't need something, what are you going out for? Well, I'm going to go out and do this and go do that. Listen, I saw a video the other day. I wasn't going to say anything about it because I have mixed feelings about it. A lot of the people in need in Pattaya are being helped by, I don't know exactly who it was, but I just remember seeing that there was a table, a couple of tables, and the people were wearing masks and they were helping to pass out food to others. But many of the people were just walking up without a mask and this. There's no social distancing, nothing. And it's good that people are being helped with food, and that's how people are in Thailand. They're great about that. You know, you need a little rice, you need a bowl or something. Okay, yeah, no problem. At least for now. Um, but I think that here and elsewhere, I just don't think people take it seriously enough. I think that it's going to spread and spread and spread and spread, and I think that uh, people got to. This is a huge wake up call, not only about how China operates and what they're doing globally, and what their plan to do this. But I also think that people are in for a wake up call because times are going to get really, really hard, and they may get really hard for me. I don't know. I hope not, but I'm planning on it. I believe it. And I'm like, every day I'm going, I hope it doesn't last past this time, doesn't pass that time. Now, on a positive note, also, I saw that the immigration is now starting to say they're coming to some kind of a decision as to a 30-day extension for people who are here as a tourist, not paying overstay fees, without having to give a letter from their government. However, I don't think it's been finalized yet. And what most people would like to see is just an automatic extension. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it would be nice to just give the people an automatic extension, from a certain day to a certain day. If you are supposed to renew your tourist visa or your no visa entry, boom, you get 30 days, because this is something that's never, I mean, in most people's lifetime, they have never seen anything like this. And so I think it's, like I saw, that doctors are uh, making up the rules as they go. And I believe that governments are doing the same thing. You know. Well, I mean, there is something to be said about hygiene and about sanitary working conditions. And even Jono said to me the other day, and I told this story the other day, where he was walking down the street to go get some groceries, and he walked by a vendor who had a little stall, and the lady was coughing all over the place, and she's coughing on her food. She didn't have a mask on. Now, I don't think she's intentionally doing this. I don't think he thought she was intentionally doing it, but the fact that she was doing it shows she's just completely unaware. I think they're going to do away with that health certificate because they're having some problems, but I don't know. I mean, it's a day by day. This is a very fluid situation, and it is very, very difficult, believe me, to keep up with all the information. And I mean, I try to keep up with it as best as I can, and then I just go, enough. That's it. I'm not going to worry about it for 8 hours or something. I'll try to just go off the internet and not look at any of the information having to do with the virus. But like I said, from yesterday, in the evening, around this time to now, there's been an additional 2,800 deaths from this virus. They have not updated. U.S. is up to 164,000 plus. Italy over 100,000. Almost 12,000 deaths. Spain approaching 100,000. Germany almost 70,000. Right now, Thailand's at 1,524, but they have not updated for the day. Not yet been updated. me see here. Australia, more than 4,500, 54 new cases. They've so far had 19 deaths, which I think so far they're doing pretty well. I don't know. I've heard some things about big parties in Australia and people not really caring about what's going on. And, you know, this brings me back to what I said earlier, which was when are we going to get to that point? When's the tipping point? When are we going to reach that tipping point where we just throw our arms up and we say, all right, enough is enough. It's time to go out. We're going to have to risk death. We're going to risk getting ill. When is that going to happen? We'll be ready with everything created now. I really hope that it doesn't last very long. I said May 15th. That's what I said. And that might happen. But now I'm starting to think, and I said this before, I think 2020 is shot. I think at best, from say June on is going to be spent recovering from this. And some places will never recover. So, you know, we like I said, you know, this is all opinion, it's conjecture. Nobody is positive. Even the best doctor, the best doctors are saying, you know, we don't know. And I think that's a good thing to say. We're not sure. They press this Anthony Fauci. They press him on. How many people do you think's going to die? How many people? He doesn't know. He's just trying to look at the models and see, oh, well, maybe if things go this way or that way, you know, this is how many's going to die. He's just guessing. He's taking an educated guess. And I'm fairly certain they know some things they're not telling us. They're not telling every little thing that goes on. How can they possibly do that? You know, there's simply too much information going around right now. I don't think that even they can keep up. I mean, just from the time that I came online, I'm sure of it. Some news has been breaking somewhere, but I blame it all on CNN. Actually, I blame the huge thirst for content at breaking down the quality of the news and information. Death toll in U.S. hits 3,000 as New York tries to steady equilibrium amid pandemic. The fog of war. 17 members of a British family caught the coronavirus after attending a funeral. Not the brightest thing to do. Is it the whole pyramid or is it the tip of the iceberg? I think right now we're at the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, the model is only as good as the information you put in. It's just, listen, it's the same as a computer. The computer is only as smart as the people who create it. I don't know that, I think Fauci has to be a diplomat. Just like any other politician, he's in that position. And yes, you know, sometimes I mean, I can't even remember. It's hard for me to even keep up with what's going on, but I hear certain reporters ask questions of Trump. He completely avoids the question, and it's not something that is all that bad. Now, I don't like that Jim Acosta from CNN, and frankly, I love to see Trump rip him a new asshole anytime he can, because I think the guy's smug and he's a bit of an asshole. But, what I think doesn't really matter. But I do think that Fauci's in a bad position. He's in a tough position, not a bad position. I think he's in a tough position because he's got to weigh out the positives and negatives of saying things. And he's got to do so in rapid fashion. He has to do it extremely quickly. I mean, when you're in something like this, these guys only have so much time in the day. And they, same with Trump. He wakes up. He may wake up 4 in the morning. He goes to sleep at 2. These guys, they're like the doctors and nurses, Yeah, I mean, I still think at this point it's going to work out, but I don't know that it's going to work out for the better than worse. I think there's going to be a lot of pissed off Americans, pissed off Italians, pissed off Spaniards. There's going to be a lot of people around the world that are pissed off. Because basically you're saying that basically the CCP, by their actions, and now from the severity of this virus, everybody's life is on hold. Yes, some people may be able to go out and take a run in their backyard or something. They've got a huge backyard. They've got a swimming pool. They're just living it up. I mean, I don't know. I think putting your life on hold, this is, like I said, this is a war without the violence, without the bombs. These are unseen. These things are, what's the word that I'm looking at? Intangible. China has drastically underreported their numbers, which I would agree on. And like I said earlier, some people think that the number is as high as 40 times the number of what they're saying. And, China, Russia, North Korea. I mean, North Korea, these are the biggest shit talkers on the planet. North Korea, they've done nothing but talk shit for years. They do very little. They do very little, and they are very good at talking shit. And I saw that their leader came out again, and, it's more big talk, and they don't do anything. And, of course, somehow I'm going to say that there are people in North Korea that are sick. Now, I don't know. Are they even on the list? But something I did notice is that there are more and more countries at the bottom that they are not developed. Countries like Somalia, Liberia, Central African Republic, now the British Virgin Islands and Botswana, and Belize, Bhutan, fairly developed. Nicaragua, Gambia, Montserrat, Chad, Benin, Cabo Verde, Sudan, Zimbabwe. All these places they're starting to show some numbers. And I'd say in about a month, from what I've seen already, I'd say it's going to take them a month, and they're going to catch up, and it's going to explode. And the same with India. I think it's going to explode in India. It's just a matter of time. So really, just if you're in the United States, hope that it doesn't hit your area. and hope that you stay safe. I saw that in Texas, it's starting to become a bit of a problem. Listen, I'm not cheering anybody. You know, I don't care about who he is. I care about, is it being solved? Is the problem being solved? Yeah, Italy and Spain have leveled off a bit, and let's hope that they start to decline. That would be a positive sign. You know, as I was telling Jono the other day, what Trump did in the past, how he talked in the past, everything he's done, it at this point it's unimportant. And for me to listen to Pelosi, I mean, this lady, I don't even know why anybody listens to her. Seriously. And Maxine Waters. I mean, they never have any, you know, if they're talking, that they're saying something bad about the other side. Without fail. 99 times out of 100. I'll say that. She's constantly blaming him. And yet when he closed off the borders to China, he's called a racist. Okay, so he's a racist. Okay, so and what's the problem? Sometimes you just got to get past that stuff. You know. And this is coming from somebody who, I live in a place where, sorry, but I am a foreigner. I will never be Thai. Oof. Yeah, I think they're willing to risk their lives with the as long as they have their guns out, and they can kill them some illegal immigrants and some Democrats. That's the way I think they look at it. You know, this is the whole thing. At this point, all this partisanship doesn't matter. What matters is that the government, just left or right, like them, hate them, what matters is they're taking care of matters, and that we're seeing a decline in the time frame that they say. What else are you going to do? And, you know, if it was so easy, why isn't every other country jumping on it and taking action? You know, you got some place like Singapore, which is like it's like a needle in a haystack compared to the United States. I've already said this. South Korea, the same thing. The density and the size of the country compared to the United States. I mean, I want to see the numbers. Let me see if I forgot to pull this up. The numbers in the United States, state by state. Did they have that up here, that graphic still? Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's not. I don't see it today. Yeah, see, here's another one. In Cambodia, I'm looking at this right here. In Cambodia, casino town, Chinese bet on future after coronavirus. They're everywhere. Like I've said before, we are ants. They have started to overtake our anthill. You know, it's like the black ants coming into the red ants. Oh, this is in Sihanoukville. You don't need to worry if the Chinese will come back. Don't let them come back, idiots. They have yet to have a huge number of people die in Cambodia. I don't know why. I don't know if they're withholding information. I don't know what the deal is. They certainly don't have the medical capabilities of handling any kind of situation, serious situation. What I really like to know is what happened to the American couple. If anybody sees this, what happened to the American couple that were being held against their will and were trying to get out of the country? I think the guy's name was Ryan Knapp, and I haven't been able to find him online. But I'd like to know if there's a follow-up. Do a quick search again. Nothing has been reported for about 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks exactly. I'd like to know what happened to him. Oh, man. Van Gogh painting stolen from closed Dutch museum. See, there's always going to be people out there who want to take advantage. Yon Trinity, you ain't no Texan. Shit, man. We got Davy Crockett down here. John Wayne. Take care. We'll handle this shit. We're from Texas. Yeah, have not seen any updates about this guy, which makes me wonder. Anyway, we could talk this to death, for sure. I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about in the coming weeks. I don't know what else to say. If you can go out in your yard or take a walk right around your house or something, I think that's great. It does help. I go outside and sit with the dog a little bit, or just go in front of my house and just, stretch my legs. And I got to get out and get a little bit of air sometimes, but for the most part, that's about it. I don't go more than about 5 feet from my house. And I think that's probably the best way to deal with it. Listen, I don't think that debating what a governor, lieutenant governor is going to do or not do, I think it really is irrelevant to the situation. Honestly, it's irrelevant, man. What's relevant is that this is an unseen, deadly illness, and people still, to this day, are going out, having parties, going to funerals, thinking everything's okay, I'm going to be fine. Yeah, I'm going to be fine. And they're doing so when it's not necessary. And non-essential means non-essential. It doesn't mean I feel like splitting and I'm going to go somewhere and go for a drive. That's not what it means. At this point, that's not what it means. Get real. Wake up. Because if you don't, it may not be you that suffers. And, I wasn't a believer in the beginning. I admit it, but I am now. It may not be you that suffers. It may be one of your kids. It may be your old lady or your old man. You know, if you're a woman watching, I don't know. It may be your grandparents or a friend. Then how you going to feel? Because you wanted to go out and go partying, have a beer. Order in, you know? Don't have a coronavirus party. If you're going to have one, do it virtually. Who said? Nobody on Fox News said that this is a flu. And, you know, I can say that while Fox leans one way, CNN leans another, Reuters has their own perspective, Bloomberg has theirs. It's nonsense now. That I don't trust any of the news, to be completely honest. I mean, I take it with a grain of salt. Well, again, right now, the only thing that matters is finding a cure, a vaccine, some therapeutic a medicine that has some effect on this. That's all that matters. All of a sudden, shit doesn't matter. Listen, I'm not saying that, you know, I hate getting into this with people who hate Trump. Because what I'm saying is that you can look at CNN and you can, I mean, Jesus Christ, look at MNBC. Get real. I'm not siding with anybody. I don't give a shit. He just happens to be the bobblehead in the picture right now. And he was voted in by the American public, like it or not. He's the bobblehead in the window. Okay? That's all I care about. It's just this figure who's supposedly helping take care of everything, and he is not taking, he is not the one who is taking care of every single thing that you see in the news. He's not. He's got people in place doing all kinds of things for him, and some that he may not even have anything to do with it. He didn't, thanks, Carl. He didn't bring into office or whatever, but he is the president. That's how it is. And you just got to get past that. All I care about is that he does what he can to help the American public get back to work and saves lives. Just like in Thailand, that's all I care about. I really don't care who the leader is. First of all, in Thailand, it's none of my damn business because I can't vote. Okay? In America, I can vote. I can vote for whoever I want. So if I'm not happy with somebody, I can always vote them out. I can vote a different way. Al Jazeera is fairly balanced. The BBC, you know, sometimes they go off a little bit, but for the most part, that's the thing. That, like I said earlier, there are news items that are released, and they are truth. There are news items that are released, and they're just opinion pieces, analysis pieces. You know, that's it. And then some of them don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're just spouting off information to keep viewers tuning in. Well, I don't see that that's going to happen. I don't see that because of the reduction of road casualties, there's going to be a lot more beds available for virus cases. Sorry. There's not that many people inside of Bangkok that are dying because of their, you know, on the road, and it's going to make such an impact. Yeah, sure, the numbers will go down, but it's not going to make a huge impact on if this explodes here. Right. And CNN was bashing Trump for shutting down the country and not letting the Chinese into the country. Didn't he do that? Didn't he shut down the borders in January? And they were just doing nothing but giving shit. Please don't tell me about CNN, okay? They're just as bad as Fox, if not far worse. But this is how this is how they survive now. This is how these organizations continue. You know, I mean, look at what is it? What the hell is it? I'm trying to think of the name of it. South China Morning Post. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're extremely biased towards the Chinese. And sometimes they're not for whatever reason. And you're like, There has to be some kind of balance and truthfulness. And I think that all of them have a problem with this now. Every single organization. So, and if you're going to blame somebody, blame China. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like I said, listen, I blame CNN for a lot of shit. Because you know what? Nobody gave a shit about 24-hour news. They made it a business. They made it a business to provide news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And quite frankly, I don't want to see the news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't give a shit about most of the politics here. The only thing I care about myself is my family safe? Are my friends safe? And to a lesser extent, are the people around the world going to be safe? I admit it, I'm selfish. I want my family and my friends to be safe first. Well, this is the thing. What's going to happen when Trump wins again? People are going to be going nuts. And you know what? Get over it. You got to get over it, man. Move the fuck on. If he loses, and he loses to Biden, I'm not going to like it. But guess what? I'll get over it. Because this is our system. And our system definitely isn't perfect. But it is our system. So until we change it and make some serious changes, and if we ever do, which eventually I would say that we probably will. Maybe not in my lifetime. I don't know. Right. And so did the Chinese not being honest with the world. Okay? Oh, Jesus Christ. Listen, you believe what you want to believe, Beyond Trinity. You believe it. No problem. Everybody, here's the thing. We call it a screw up. The truth is that if you're a leader and you're put in this position, you may not know exactly what to do. You may want to wait a little bit because you're hesitant to, it's going to hurt a lot of companies, a lot of people. So you're hesitant to do it because you really want to have more proof. And I'm not saying that's what he did, but when has he ever been in this position? When? Nobody has. They're playing it by ear, man. They're flying by the seat of their pants. That's how it works. That's what they're doing. So, as much as I'd like to keep going with this stream here, I think that the stream has pretty much run its course. Like I always say, towards the end. We don't need to get angry or, listen, I understand we have our own opinions and that's fine. There's no problem. And I don't agree sometimes with what some people say, and I guarantee you they don't agree with what I say. And that's fine. I don't really give a shit. You want to believe me? Believe me. You don't want to believe me? Don't believe me. You want to listen? Listen. You don't want to listen? Don't listen. That's what freedom's about. I've heard many times, many people slam people, and then they come back and they go, They don't want to say they're wrong. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening right now. But it happens all the time. People can, we're human. It's as simple as that. Look at Italy. Italy's in the toilet right now. Damn shame. You gonna blame it all on their leaders? No. Ugh. Well, so what do you want me to say? What does that have to do with this? It doesn't have a damn thing to do with it right now. Seriously. So, write your congressman, bitch and moan to him. But, at the end of the day, the last thing that, honestly, beyond Trinity, the last thing I want to do is concern myself with fucking politics. The only reason I give a shit right now is because it's affecting people around the world right now. And to be clear, it surely has affected me. It's affected my wife. It's affected me. It's affected my kids. It's affected everybody I know. Every person I know. And I dare say, damn near everybody in the streams. So I don't give a shit about the politics. And quite frankly, while some people may enjoy Trump bragging and giving these updates, honestly, I don't like it because I'm like, just shut the fuck up and move on and give me the facts. Give me what's happened today. Okay, hey, so-and-so delivered 4,800 of this, 52,000 of this. All right, wonderful. We got it done. Not, I want to congratulate this. I don't give a shit about all that stuff. Seriously. Stop tooting your own horn. That's how I look at that. I hope that makes you feel a little better beyond Trinity, because it is the truth. I can't stand his shit sometimes. He's talking about his hair today. Are you kidding me? Well, maybe that's true, but, I don't have to like it. And guess what? I can say that here or in the United States and get away with it because we have those freedoms. In China, guess what? They don't. Which brings me back to, the point of this stream today. And, I know I've sounded in the past couple of months, ever since Hong Kong. Yeah, he did. He did talk about his hair, about how he talked about it, believe me, for, 30 seconds he was talking about his hair. We can't all have hair like me or something like that. I don't know. I have to go back and look. Just do your job, Donnie. To say that I'm not a little bit worried would be an understatement. Am I worried to the point where I'm freaking out? No. I managed to control it. But I always think to myself, okay, everybody's saying, yeah, we're going to get a vaccine. It's going to plateau. It's going to do this. It's going to... Okay. Bottom line is, the reason I don't worry about it too much, and it's not because I think we're going to get a virus, we're going to get a vaccine, and we're going to get this, and we're going to get that, and it's going to stop it. No, I don't have any faith in all this shit. I don't have faith in it. I don't know that we will. We may never have a vaccine for this. We don't have a vaccine for the common cold. How are we going to have a vaccine for this? I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'll die. My family will die. We'll all die. At some point, it comes down to, you're going to die from starving and being on the street, and, you're going to die from that, or you're going to die from the virus. Take your chances. It's like Russian roulette. Except, you got a little bit better, the percentages are better. So, you know, like they say, what are you going to do? You know? What are you going to do? You're going to keep going on with life. And I will say this. I disagreed with somebody about how serious this virus is and will be. I disagreed with him. And I still disagree with him. I think this is far more serious than he ever believed. Sweden is in denial, I think. I don't know if they're starting to believe, but and when do you get to the point where well, this is not, this is worse than the flu. What are we going to do? Well, I'm going to say over the next couple of years, if we don't find a vaccine, this is going to kill millions of people. Millions. It might kill me. I don't know. I hope not. Well, I really hope that these medicines do a lot of good and that they stave off and save a lot of people's lives. But, on the other hand, I also think that this is a reset for the world. It's a reset and it's a wake-up call in many different ways. Wake up about China. Wake up about the, look at how pollution has decreased. It's like everywhere. Pollution has decreased just about everywhere. 30%, 50%, 20%. So the other thing is the social distancing. What's going to happen when people start to go, oh, well, the threat is over, and then, you got somebody next to you coughing, hacking up a bunch of gook. What's going to happen? People on a bus going to beat the piss out of the guy? Or the lady? I don't know what's next. But there are some changes that are going to be made, and we'll find out about them. What I really hope, in addition to that we get well, and that not too many people pass away, is I hope that our civil liberties, and I'm talking about in the United States, but I'm also talking about here, that they don't get snatched away from us. And then, we're given this line that, well, it's because of the virus, just like 9/11. And if they were there, they still would have kicked him out. Well, look at the journalists being cooked. Listen, anytime you have a country, a government trying to stifle free media, there's a reason why. If you got nothing to hide, you don't need to stifle the media. And I can tell you that much of what's done it's called self-censorship. You watch what you say because you know what the consequences will be. This is the other thing. I didn't even get into that, is the surveillance done by China. This is what I mean. I don't ever want to go there. And to be honest, Chuck asked me a while, oh, you want to go to North Korea? And I was like, nah. And finally I started going, I don't know, maybe. Now I'm like, you know what? No, not a chance in hell. Not going to do it. Don't want to go to these places. I don't want 1 cent of my money going into their economy. Nothing. Just same with China. It's time to say goodbye to China. There's a lot of good Chinese people out there. But the ones that are following the CCP and the CCP, I want nothing to do with them. So, Anyway, I think we're about done here. Like I said 15 minutes ago, I always do that. Yeah, well, I don't know. You might, surround me with a bunch of chicks and throw a big party for me. I don't know. He may like me. It's like the Dennis Rodman effect. You YouTube you're superstar. No, I'm not a superstar. Well, I've been to Korea a couple of times, and I don't know really how I feel about them. Their government. I don't know, because I haven't really researched it much, and I don't know as much as I should about their government. But I'm not one for all the surveillance. I think that it does more harm than good, and I think that there is something to be said for privacy. Privacy. What do I got to do? Really nowadays you got to climb into a cave if you want to be alone. You want to be unseen. You want to go and disappear for a while. You want to have some peace and quiet and nobody looking at you, walking up on you. Unless you got a huge amount of dough, it's not that simple. Yes, I like heated debates. That's fine. As long as we don't attack each other, I think we're fine here, so that's great. Yeah, I think South Korea, they were very well organized, and they're not a massive country. So it did allow them to take care of things a little more efficiently. But I'd say, once again, stay inside. Stay inside. Don't go out unless you have to. Going out with your buddy for a beer is non-essential. Have a beer virtually. Have a shot of tequila virtually. If you really want to have a shot of tequila, call me up in about 12, well, not 12 hours. Call me up in about 9 hours, and maybe I'll have a virtual shot with you. All right? Get in touch with me or whatever. Yeah. So, thank you very much for watching. If you like what I'm doing and would like to support the channel, take a look at the description or head over to anamericaninbangkok.com/Scott. I'm trying to make it easy for you. There's a number of ways you can contribute to the success of the channel and my staying afloat, and some of which you don't even have to, you're not sending me money simply to do so. You're not donating money. You get something for it. If you've yet to subscribe, please do so. Make sure to click on that bell, smash the bell to make sure you get notified of when I'm streaming or when a video will go up. It's difficult for me to always put up a stream, to give notice on a stream, because sometimes I don't know if I'm going to stream. I always do, but I don't know what I'm going to be streaming about. But maybe I should just put something up that just says stream number 35, 9 o'clock, and then I'll revise the thumbnail and the title or something later on. I don't know. But anyway, click like. Don't forget to click like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. Leave a comment. All that good stuff. And until next time, thank you for watching. Let's go out with a little really great music here. Yeah. I don't know who this is, but it's not copyrighted. Stream about nothing. Yeah, I'm trying not to look at the thumbs up and thumbs down, or really even the comments, because at the end of the day, how much do they affect me? If there's 25 thumbs down right now, I can guarantee you they're going to go down, because for some reason, I think YouTube does some things to the numbers. Everything changes once the stream is processed and put into their system. I noticed the number of views and things like that, they change. So yeah, wonderful music, eh? It's called Wide Awake. I want y'all to be wide awake. Listen up. Wake up. Boycott those Chinese products. Sorry, China. Maybe another day. All right, let me see if I can do this here.